in this video, we're going to be talking about decimal arithmetic. That means we are going to add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals. Okay, so I have 4 examples here on the board where we are adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. So each one of these are different. I suggest you watch until the very end. Now, any video that I feel that you need to know before watching this video, I will leave those videos down below in the description. So be sure to check out my description. Okay, so let's get started. So our first example is adding decimals. So we have 1.4 plus 0.16. So the first thing you want to do is you want to write the first number and then write the second number directly below it. Make sure that you line the decimal places up. That is where it's crucial. That is the important part. So I'm going to write 1.4 plus 0.16. Okay, now sometimes your problem will not have this 0. So let's just say I take this 0 away for now because that's the same thing. I didn't change the problem. 0.16 is the same as 0.16. So for the sake of explaining, let me just remove the 0 for now. Okay, so let's just say you line your decimal places up. In order to avoid confusion, the first thing you want to do is, before you add them, go ahead and fill in your zeros. Fill in your zeros, okay? Pad it in. That way, everything just looks nice, and all you have to do is just add up your columns from here. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and add. So 6 plus 0 is 6, 4 plus 1 is 5, and 1 plus 0 is 1. So your final answer is 1.56. Okay, so now how about we do the same thing? Well, the same thing applies for subtraction. The only difference is we're going to subtract instead of add. Okay, so how about we take 1.4 minus 0.16, okay? And I'm going to fill in my zeros, right? And we're just going to subtract. So 6 we're going to borrow from the 4, right? And the 4 becomes a 3, which means that this becomes like an imaginary 10, right? So we have 10 subtracting 6, which is 4. 3 subtract 1 is 2. And 1 minus 0 is just 1. So our final answer is 1.24. Great. Awesome. All right. So now we are given a multiplication problem here. So now the beautiful thing about multiplying is that you do not have to worry about the decimals in the beginning. So let's just multiply as if the decimals were not there. Let's pretend the decimals are not there. Okay, so 4 times 6 is 24, carry the 2. 6 times 1 is 6, plus the 2 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 1 is 1. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, carry the 1. 1 plus the 1 is 2. Now, here is where the difference is, okay? So let us count how many decimal places we have in our original problem. So our original problem has 1, and our original problem here has 1, 2. So in total, we have 3 decimal places. So therefore, we're going to take that and we're going to put that in our final answer. So we put our finger here and go back 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam! That is where you are going to put your decimal. So I'm going to say 0.224 or 0.224. Okay, so that is your answer for multiplying. Okay, so now let's look at how to divide decimals. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is write it as a fraction. So I'm going to write 1.4 over 0.16. Okay, so now you want to get rid of those decimals. So how are we going to get rid of those decimals? Well, what you want to do is you want to multiply the top and the bottom by however many tens you need to get rid of those decimals. So if I multiply the top and the bottom by 10, then I'm going to get 14 over 1.6. Now, Have we gotten rid of the decimals yet? No, we have not gotten rid of the decimals yet. So we need to multiply it by 10 again, okay? So I'm going to say times 10 times 10. And so now we get 140 over 16. Question, could I have just multiplied the top and the bottom by 100 in the very beginning? Sure, if I would have multiplied the top and the bottom by 100 right here, we would have just skipped over and went straight to 140 over 16, okay? So I just wanted to kind of show you in steps. All right, so now you just divide it out like you usually would. But before I do that, how about I make my life a little easier and reduce this fraction to lowest terms, okay? So I'm going to reduce the fraction by lowest terms. So I'm going to look at a common factor. We have a common factor of 2. So 140 divided by 2 is 70. 16 divided by 2 is 8. I think it can reduce again, right? So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 2 again. All right. And so we get 35 over 4. Okay. So now I'm going to come out to the side. And I'm going to take 35. And I'm going to divide it by 4. So how many times does 4 go into 35? Well, 4 goes into 35 8 times because 4 times 8 is 32. And I'm going to go ahead and subtract here. 2, 3, 4, 5. We get a 3 here. Now how about I go ahead and add some zeros? When I add those zeros, make sure you put a decimal point here because 35 is the same as 35.0. It's the same as 35.00. So I didn't change the problem, right? So I'm adding some zeros and I'm going to bring down one of those zeros, okay? So now we say that 4 goes into 30. How many times does 4 go into 30? Well, 4 goes into 37 times. Now, before I write the 7 up here, I'm going to go ahead and carry up my decimal. Make sure it lines up, okay? So 4 times 7 is 28. Now I'm going to subtract here, and now I'm going to bring down another 0, right? So now we say how many times does 4 go into 20? 4 goes into 25 times because 4 times 5 is 20. So now we have no remainder. So our final answer is 8.75.